Do your part in keeping this theater quiet so everyone, including you, can enjoy.
What is up, everybody, and welcome into the DNVR Lounge. I'm Adam Matas. I'm joined by Brendan Vogt.
Little conference finals preview? That almost doesn't sound
How are
right.
we in the conference finals
That's-
right now?
I know,
How
man.
did that
It's
just happen?
Where we
man?
belong.
Yeah.
And
First of many.
First of many.
Nice.
First of many. I like it. Also joined by D-Line Co. You know him as D-Line Co.
Usually we have some sort of emotional lead into these. So.
Well, usually we have an emotional thing going
no,
on, but
that's
it's
what I
just
mean.
it's
Not
Thursday.
specifically you. Like, there's a game that dictates how we're feeling or how we're gonna react. I don't know.
How are you feeling?
I don't even know. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, wow.
I'm left up to my own devices, and I've
That's
come
true.
up with nothing.
Are
We'll
all of
figure
your
that out
emotions in
tomorrow.
life rooted in sports?
I thought I made that
Like,
pretty clear every
So
time I talk to you.
if there's no sports going on, you actually have no emotions.
Look at me right now.
They're very emotionless.
You're emotional.
I'm also joined by the most handsome of the four of us, Harrison Wynn.
I thought you were going to introduce me twice.
No.
It was funny. We sat down here. Initially, I was sitting in D-line seat, but we
Nope.
felt like that was a
Nope.
definite no-go, so we moved back. And I did realize the best part about sitting in the seat is I can see all of the Photoshops D-line is working on before they actually
Yeah,
come on the
that's
show.
nice.
It's the best part.
He always goes, "Hey, Adam, can you see this?" And I can't. I'm like, "This sucks."
It's benefit of being Adam.
So this is enough banter, guys. This is going to be a
Let's get
preview show.
serious.
We're going to preview the Western Conference Finals, which
Lit.
it's what's so funny about this playoffs, and especially when your team goes 7 games every single round, is you get almost no time to prepare for whatever's next. Like, I slept all day yesterday. I just woke up to come here, and now it's time to get ready for this one. So I don't have a ton of detailed notes in here. It's like I got a lot of things that I'm curious for. I really want to see how the series kind of gets going. Of course, I did the podcast with George Carl, much sharper basketball mind than myself, and he shared a lot of these insights, and I'm just going to repurpose those now as my own.
Cool. I listened to that. So
It was good, wasn't it?
Expect 3 times the.
I'll keep the chain going. I'll repurpose your insights
There
as
you
my
go.
own, and
There you
we'll
go.
just kick it down the line.
Well, let's start at the top here, guys, and just talk about the keys of the series. Some of the things that you think will be like some of the key battlegrounds. I'll put my first one in here. And this is kind of true, I think, for the Nuggets against all teams, but it's especially true of the Los Angeles Lakers. They cannot let them get out in transition. The Lakers are elite. Just have elite athletes, obviously incredible LeBron open court player. You're not going to stop him. Denver can't allow the Lakers to get comfortable in the open court. I think in the half court you can talk yourself into making this a battle.
Yeah, those unforced errors, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
one thing if there's a block or even just a well-timed steal, but those maybe overexcited behind-the-back passes, that kind of stuff, or even just the kind of lazy entry passes. Like, everything has to be sharp. Nuggets can't beat themselves. Don't give the Lakers those opportunities.
There's a little stat here. The Lakers are number 2 both in the regular season and in the playoffs in fast break points. So, I mean, it is a strength of theirs.
Yep.
They're really good defensively at clogging the paint and forcing you into mistakes because you always want to try to get into the paint and do this stuff. They're really good at keeping you out of there. What do you think, Harrison?
Well, it's funny because it felt like the Clippers series was a super slow it down, walk it up half court series. For the most part. When the Clippers got out in transition, it was usually when they were getting on some of their runs. Just like Kawhi, just one hand jamming it like in transition.
Right.
Games 1 and Game 4 are the games that they got out in transition, and those were the 2 games that the Nuggets were least sort of connected to.
But when the Nuggets can keep a team like the Clippers in the half court, their defense is better.
Yeah.
When they can, well, it helps if you make a basket on the other end and you can actually get back. But when Denver gets back and sets its defense, we've seen specifically in the fourth that they're much better.
And the Lakers don't necessarily have a ton of shooters either, right? So in the half court, you'd think, I mean, they don't have a great answer for AD or LeBron, but in the half court position, like, they can hold their own. So it really is those transition opportunities where I think the big Laker runs will come from.
And credit Jamal Murray in this playoffs. I mean, he's really
Big
limited
time.
his turnovers, and I think that's a big part of it. Jokic and Murray both just have to limit the turnovers because that's the number one way you can allow them to get out in transition. So I don't know. I feel I would say about that battleground, I don't feel great because the Lakers are just so good at this. Denver has been good recently at preventing it, but they're going to have to be even better, I think. So to me, that feels like a battleground that naturally defaults to the Lakers, but one that Denver can balance in their favor if they emphasize it well.
Right.
enough.
It's a controllable to some extent.
Exactly,
You can
controllable.
keep
Some
them
of the
out
stuff isn't gonna be
transition.
controllable.
Right. I mean, the missed shot opportunities and stuff, no. But what's in your control must be crisp.
Yeah. Turnovers were also on this list. It plays into that same thing. We just kind of talked about them. Rebounding for me was another one. And this is strength for strength for Denver and the Lakers here. The Lakers are enormous. This was your big comment when you watched them early, first time this year.
It was jarring, honestly, like watching it at Pepsi Center and just sort of peering down from that, like, large that overhead view and just seeing like sorry.
What's going on here, Eric?
First time.
Just seeing like how much physically they were just standing over the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, because when you look at the Lakers, like it's a bunch of just like recycled, once was king of the NBA players.
It's a bunch of big names, is what you're trying to say.
But
Dwight's huge. JaVale's been around. He's huge.
And you
LeBron's
hear these
huge.
names, you're like,
Rondo's a
oh wow,
champ.
those are good players, but they're like kind of good players, but they're just physically a lot bigger than a lot of teams, which causes
Huge. They're a huge team.
exactly, which causes a lot of problems. But the funny thing is I mean, and we'll get to this, I suppose, but like. Our team looks different than it did the first time that we saw them. The game that I'm talking about.
Oh, man, let me say this. I went back and watched the two games that I thought were most important. The February game right before the trade deadline or before the All-Star break, and then the one in the bubble. Neither one are a sample, man. Like, I was so blown away.
Don't watch the bubble one. PJ Dozier was like their leading scorer.
PJ Dozier was in there a ton. Bull checked in at the start the second quarter.
Yeah.
Keita Bates-Diop, one of the first guys off the bench, and I'm just like, okay, I guess I can't take anything from these games. I remember Denver didn't close, but I forgot that, Bull was like a featured member of the Nuggets for part of the seeding round.
Yeah, how does Malone sort of match up with the size, and when and where does he make those decisions? I mean, I think we're assuming the Lakers will start McGee, right? And AD plays the 4. So who's more likely to keep AD kind of away from that help side and away from the rim, Millsap or Grant? I mean, I think Malone's just going to start Millsap either way, but how much he plays and when he plays could be a huge key in this series.
Yeah. It's like I don't think there's a good matchup for Anthony Davis in the entire league. Just like there's not a good matchup for Nikola Jokic. Maybe AD is probably the best matchup for him. I think the Nuggets will probably stick with the same starting lineup. Have Grant at the 3, have Paul Millsap at the 4. I think Torrey Craig was their primary defender on LeBron, like throughout like the 3 regular season matchups that mattered. But I've got to think the Nuggets stick with the same starting lineup, right?
I kind of don't mind that. I mean, look, it's LeBron James.
Yeah, it's like, what are you going to do?
And Denver, let's be honest, Denver had success as the series went on, collectively walling off Kawhi Leonard. LeBron is a passer. I mean, he's kind of like, especially at this stage in this season specifically, he's almost a pass first, score second player.
Absolutely,
he's always been somewhere around 50-50. I think he's much more of a pass first player now. If the going gets tough, though, he can step up. So he's going to be, in my opinion, a significantly more difficult player to stop than Kawhi, just because he does so much. But at the same way, maybe more important that if you do stop him, I think the Lakers will also have very few answers. I mean, Anthony Davis, as good as he is, he's still going to win this off of the 2-man game. And off of some of this other stuff.
Anthony Davis, I think really, regardless of what Denver does, it's going to be tough to prevent him from having a huge series. I mean, I just think it is. You look at the numbers Davis put up in like those 3 meaningful games: 30 points on 53% shooting, over 10 rebounds a game.
How many free throws?
I don't have that stat.
Oh my goodness, what are we doing?
I mean,
but I just think he's going to have a big series, and I mean, if Denver can like contain him, that's going to be incredible. But he's a tough guy to guard. I just don't think Nuggets have a great matchup for him.
Yeah.
I mean,
Can you
Grant seem like a decent matchup?
But that you probably want Grant on LeBron, I think, at least with that starting unit. But I mean, how can you turn AD into a jump shooter? I mean, he will. Like, part of him wants to take those tough fadeaways, and he's hit them in a lot of this postseason. But I think if there's any scenario, if it's like a lot of AD jump shots that feels like a win for Denver, I wonder if there's more Plumlee minutes in this series.
I think there will be.
Plumlee alongside you.
I don't know if I love that.
To try to match LA's size for rebounding and to try to make AD bang down low. Because I think by the end of the game, if he's had to work too hard, he's going to slide further out as a shooter.
So Anthony Davis taking 9.2 free throw attempts per game. For reference, Nikola Jokic is taking 3.8. So that's more than double the free throw attempts. So I think that's one area for me that really concerns me in the series is that Anthony Davis is very good at drawing fouls, and he's very good at getting foul calls. And I'm really worried about just that match. Like that's one area where I just think like, okay, this is going to be tough. I'm not trying to put the conspiracy hat on. Some players are good at getting foul calls. He's one of them.
Well, like Vogt was saying, if you push him out to the perimeter more and you make him more of a jump shooter, that's going to keep you out of foul trouble a little bit. I mean, you still can't touch a jump shooter in the NBA,
Right,
but it's going to keep you out of foul trouble a little more.
It's so true, though. AD, I think, is as good as any big man. I mean, Embiid's right up there, too, but you sneeze on the dude, he's going to the line. He's just good at whatever it is that makes refs feel like that contact was there for big men.
Anthony Davis and James Harden about the same free throw rate, so that tells you where it's at.
What game do you think he'll hurt his ankle in? Second
Oh
game?
God, don't do this. Don't do that. We're not going to do this.
You know what, though? You don't need an AD injury to beat this team. You know, you don't.
No, I know. I'll take it.
But, yeah, fair enough.
But it would help. So Lakers number 2 in offensive rebounding percentage. Nuggets number 4. That's why I say it's strength for strength. Both of them good. And actually, surprisingly, both of them statistically in this playoffs, the defensive rebounding hasn't necessarily been that high, but it's still pretty high. So that'll be a huge, huge battleground. We know players like Dwight. I think Dwight gets a lot of run in this one. I know Lakers fans that I've talked to were kind of surprised by that. But to me, Jokic, I think, struggles as much with going against the two bigs, in particular a help side big in Anthony Davis and an on-ball strong big in Dwight Howard. Jokic bullies almost every player. Yeah. And I think he can bully Dwight Howard if it were just one-on-one, because Jokic is also just a beast.
But Dwight and McGee, Dwight and AD.
But then you bring you bring AD over from the weak side, and if you're talking about Millsap being there, that length now all of a sudden where you can sag off of guys starts to really matter.
Yeah, the big the big players in the middle, I'm so curious to see. I mean, Nikola is built his entire career on going up against athletic bigs where that are just dumb and he just cooks them. Yeah, which is JaVale McGee, obviously. Like,
I always think of DeAndre Jordan when I think of that for some reason.
Oh man, remember how he like the last time they played when DeAndre Jordan was still like an actual player.
Yeah,
he got so mad he fouled himself out.
DeAndre Jordan almost retired.
He honest to God, I've never seen it in my life. He had 5 fouls. Yeah, everybody was like, "Be careful." And he just like intentionally fouled because he's like, "F this, man. I'm done guarding this guy."
It's so true.
He was cooking me and embarrassing me.
Yeah. So I mean, Nikola has that in his bag, and I just feel like we saw the blueprint on how to beat a team that wants to neutralize Nikola Jokic.
The thing is, though, I mean, Jokic has struggled against the Lakers bigs probably more than any other bigs in the league this season. If you look at the 3 matchups, 17.6 points for Jokic on 47% shooting from the field,
and he was
in those 3 games.
And he was trying. He took it at AD in some of those.
I think it's the old Derek Favors problem, though, where it's again like we saw Jokic go up against Gobert, probably the best post-up one-on-one defender or whatever. He goes up against him and he shoots 50% from the field and does 26 points, but it's harder. And the other team feels like they'll live with that. If you can live with Jokic going one-on-one and say, we're not going to let him get any assists, we're going to cut those off. Jokic is as good as he is. I don't know that he's going to get you to 110 points that way, right? Like he might go for 40 once or twice, but he's not going to go for there enough that you feel comfortable. So I think that's going to be largely the game plan. And then the second part is just those multiple bodies. They're going to I don't think they're going to they're not going to trap the way that the Clippers did, which I thought was really dumb, just sending the full-on hard double. I think they're more going to wait for him to get close to the rim and contest with the second person, and that's such a better defense for this. So much harder.
Is there a matchup in the league, just off the top of your head, from the Denver perspective, where you feel worse about the interior, about the paint? Than the Lakers are really
it's number one
for sure. So.
And Jokic, it's not even like he struggled in these games. I think he's actually had some good games against the Lakers. He struggled late, which is such a rare sight. Like, we've never seen Jokic struggle in the clutch. It's usually the opposite, where you're always like, okay, but is he gonna turn it on? He always does. And then the fourth quarter, he takes over. These 2 of the most high-profile games this season, both right before the All-Star break and right early in the season, December 4th. We have this date marked down because that's when Fat Jokic started to get skinny. And we felt like both of those moments were sort of loud moments where it was like, wow, Jokic usually, he took a bunch of shots, and he usually has more success. So that's a huge battleground. But we talked about this. The Lakers are better now than they were 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, by virtue of they've just kind of tightened up and gotten serious. I think the Nuggets are better than what they were a few weeks ago because they've gone through the ringer. Jamal Murray's the best we've ever seen of him right now. Nikola Jokic looks like the best we've ever seen him. Like, they have grown from this experience. I feel like the Lakers have grown together. This isn't a knock. It's just a contrast of styles. Like, they've grown together, so they're firing on all cylinders, or were at the end of that series. But I feel like the Nuggets players have actually gotten better because they're young and still growing.
No doubt about it. And we've talked a lot about the mental edge thing and what a win over the Clippers does. I mean, there's no world, especially because you go back to that seeding game, they had some momentum against the Lakers without the first unit guys. This is the script for the Nuggets entering this series, feeling the best about themselves, I think.
Oh, also just think about the road that both teams have had to go to get to this point. Like, no knock on the Portland Trailblazers or the Houston Rockets.
Hold on. 100% knock on them. Guys, this is the dumbest thing. You guys know our rant. We've been saying this. I think we've said this on the show, but I'm going to bring it back up in case there's any new listeners here. We laughed our ass off at the fact that Portland was considered the tough team because every team, this is how every seeding round went for the Portland Trailblazers. They're up against some team. That team's kicking the crap out of them. Then that team rests all of their starters for the fourth. Damian Lillard scores 25 fourth-quarter points, and everyone's like, man, is Dame the MVP? This Portland team's really going to take it to
Lakers to 7.
They're going to take this is the toughest 8 seed we've ever seen. It's like, guys, they literally lost every seed game except for every team tanked to help them get in.
And every game was super close.
Like, Keita Bates-Diop almost ruined it for Denver by getting stops on Damian Lillard. It's like, come on. So that Portland team was bad. I think the Houston Rockets team, one thing we're learning obviously more and more every single season is like if you have players that have a weakness like Russell Westbrook's the most interesting player in the NBA right now because Supermax contract might be unplayable in a playoff. So you're right. This isn't to diminish anything from the Lakers because I think they're actually the best team in the NBA.
Yeah.
It's that they haven't been quite tested yet.
Yeah. What I'm getting at is like over the last, the last 3 games of the Clippers series, over the last 3 games of that Jazz series, the Nuggets needed to play an A-plus game, in all 6 of those games to advance. The Lakers haven't had to play A-plus basketball to get past Portland, to get past Houston. They've had to put them away, and the Lakers have played great at times, but they haven't had to play like 3 straight games of A-plus basketball.
Don't you feel like the longer this series goes, the more it swings in Denver's favor? I mean, I really think a Lakers win to me actually seems more likely in 5 games. You get to 6 or 7, things tighten up. I mean, I know LeBron's used to the pressure.
I have this on my notes here. I strongly disagree.
Okay.
And this is where things get a little bit interesting here. Jokic is the smartest player in most series because he's one of the 5 smartest players in the NBA. I don't think he is than LeBron. And I do think that there is something to, as a series goes on, teams adjust. And by games 5, basically, you've seen every adjustment. Like, okay, there's no more adjustments. We've seen it. We know what they're going to do. Are we better prepared for it? LeBron is just like Jokic in that the longer this goes on, the more LeBron knows the weak points as much as Denver does. That wasn't true of Kawhi Leonard.
And then you get into Game 7, and the Clippers are doing this weird trapping thing on Jamal Murray, and you're like, what? You waited for Game 7 to break this out?
They did it in Game 6, and Denver smoked them. I mean, that was the Clippers just not having a player that can be like, I know what's going on. Let me set this table here. Even the shots Kawhi and Paul George were taking at the end, like, they just look like, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I guess I'll just try to get to my spot and elevate. LeBron's not going to be like that. The longer the series goes on, in my opinion, the more LeBron's going to be like, okay, this is that action that works. This action works. This is the guy that moves here, and these are my 2 reads, so I'm reading that. And that, to me, I don't know that Denver – it's silly to say come back from 3-1. I mean, the reason 3-1 comebacks are so impressive is because you can't predict them. So I'm not saying that. But even more to the point, a 2-2 series, I feel like –
so I agree
Denver has left an advantage.
Everything you've said about LeBron, my only counter would be I'm really thinking more about the KCPs, the Morrises, right? The guys that might tighten up a little bit down the stretch, whereas Denver at this point is feeling like, dude, until it's Game 7, we're not feeling that down our necks pressure.
The Lakers have not played this version of Jamal Murray ever.
That's a good point, man.
Jamal Murray is so much better than he was when we saw them early in the season. He's so much better than he was when they saw him last season. They can neutralize Jokic, but if Jokic can kick out to Jamal Murray, if Jokic can kick out, if we can get, and then I was saying, like, I think MPJ is another third scorer. Like, if you can get 2 scorers to go alongside Nikola Jokic, like, I'm not scared about what's happening in the paint. And I trust Nikola Jokic, and I trust now Jamal Murray more than I ever have before to be able to come up clutch. And so I don't know. I'm with Brendan on this. I just think that there's some amount of, and not only just the idea in general that, again, that the Lakers have not been tested. We don't know how they're going to respond, how they're like, we heard early on in the bubble that they were having weird internal issues that really didn't get aired out. We didn't know exactly what that was. I don't
think they're going to pop up again.
I'm saying, like, they've not It's just like you've said before, Adam. Like you don't know anything about yourself until you're tested. They've not been tested.
Yeah.
They know nothing about themselves, right?
I do think there's a lot of truth to that. I mean, a lot of truth to that, and we'll see what's revealed as this team goes. They do have a guy that's just been there a lot with a lot of different
That's
teams
the
and a
thing.
lot
The
of
one
different
guy.
iterations.
The one guy.
and that
But-
makes
but,
it different.
you know,
but that does matter. I mean, it does matter because the team can rally around the one
Yeah,
guy.
but I'm saying our
yeah,
boats have risen at the same level.
Oh, 100%. Oh, there's no question about it.
And they have the one guy that's been there. They have the shining beacon, and then Anthony Davis has absolutely no history of being clutch in any way in his career.
I do wonder how he would look in a game 7.
We're gonna find out. We're not. You think this is not going to game? This isn't going to 7 games.
I don't know.
Well,
man.
a Nugget series has literally never gone with this group to 7 games.
I think
so.
this is a worse matchup for Denver than the Clippers, and I think to
How
me,
funny is it that so many people thought the opposite of that like a week and a half ago?
and to me, if it isn't clear, like still think playoff time, like LeBron's the number one dude you should fear. So there's definitely a world in which this is wrapped up in 5 or 6.
Yeah, but would you have thought that? Would you have thought that this was a worse matchup before the
Yes.
series that just happened?
Yes.
Like you didn't think that the Clippers were
It's
like
all
the,
to
the
me.
dark
It's
horse?
all about like I think Adam hit the nail on the head. LA does not necessarily have to double yoke.
Yeah.
and that's just
Yep.
it for
Yep.
me.
Yeah.
You know.
That's a good point.
There's a lot too. I mean, I think Jokic is fantastic. He's awesome. There was a lot of like he got to do play the exact way he wanted to as the series went on, and
Right into his hands.
some of that was bad coaching, but some of it was just, let's be honest, they didn't have any bigs that could
Right.
hang with him, so they
Exactly.
had to. They do. Why don't we are we ready for our first break here, Harrison? On the
Yeah,
other
sure.
side, I'll prep you guys. We're going to talk about who has the advantage in this game when there's a tie game, 5 minutes to go. That's an interesting question, in my opinion. We're going to talk about that. We're going to do a stonk report. Which
baby.
player's stonk is rising, which is falling.
Everyone, get your stonk trackers out.
But first, the smooth voice of the Peloton Prince.
I'm gonna get my ready to buy whatever you're talking about. So go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. I'll get through these. Pick up some Breck Brews this weekend. Pick up some Breck Brews for the game Friday. Check out the Avalanche Amber from Breck Brew, a perfect beer to sip on during the game. We've got all the Breck Brews down here at the DNVR bar. If you're ever in the area, you can also find out where Breck Brew is located near you with the Breck Brew beer locator. And again, check out the Avalanche Amber Ale. Also, guys, it sure was nice seeing the teams back out on the gridiron over the weekend. Luckily for us, that was just week 1. There's no better place to get in on all the action than with DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. And to add to the excitement of week 2, DraftKings Sportsbook is bringing back their can't-miss offer.
Oh baby.
DraftKings Sportsbook is giving all new users the chance to turn $1 into $100. Didn't DraftKings lose like $10 million on this prop? But
They might have.
when they bet on any team, that's right, you can place a
do this right
$1
now.
bet on any team, and if that team wins, you can cash a cool Benjamin. How could you pass that up?
Doesn't seem
not-
like
I'm
they
doing it
thought
right
that
now.
through. You
How
know?
could you pass that
I'm not
up?
passing
They're not
them.
gonna make
I'm
any
literally
money on
doing
that.
it right now.
If you're new to DraftKings Sportsbook, head to the app now to scout their latest offers. Make sure to download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code DNVR when you sign up to get this can't-miss offer. Pick any team during week 2, bet $1 on them, and win $100 if they win. That's $1 to win $100 when you use promo code DNVR during sign-up for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
Well done. Well done. All right. So
I'm convinced.
we're previewing the Western Conference Finals with the Denver Nuggets and the Los Angeles Lakers. 3 times in my life, the Western Conference Finals, all 3 times the Los Angeles Lakers. It's, I'm telling you,
So miserable.
it feels so much like the hero's journey.
It's
I'm
weird.
not saying I
It
predict
is.
the Nuggets to win. I'm just saying if they have to ever win, it's going to have to be through Los
We're gonna-
Angeles.
Gotta
we're gonna
be the
find-
hard way.
We're going to
gotta
find
be.
out if we're the heroes or if we are Sisyphus.
Either way. You know what? I like that one though.
Thanks,
It
bro.
is. We must consider him happy. So, all right, we go now to what I think is one of the most interesting questions. You're a big LeBron guy. He's been very, very clutch over his career.
Big market vote.
Tight, big
DNV.
market vote over here, coastal vote.
By the
We
way,
have.
big market vote. A lot of victories in these playoffs, by the way, so far.
Why is that?
Just like, all the Raptors stuff, they're gone. I'm just saying the top end talent takes
Oh man,
looking good.
You want to just cook for a little bit here?
No.
I mean, you wanted to. I felt like you really wanted to.
I'm not
cook
pro
on
Lakers.
on the
Yeah,
team.
yeah.
I hear you.
No,
really
no.
like-
I'm just
no,
saying.
the Lakers have really gotten a tough shake. I mean, washed king hashtag no. But
They've
for
had to
real,
play
so
all these late
like,
games.
and that Kobe stuff, it's like really hard for them. There's a lot going on.
So let's talk about tie game. Last 5 minutes, the Denver Nuggets have been as good as anybody in the NBA for 2 seasons now. They've got a 2-man game that works. Harrison Wind, you had a great stat earlier.
Do you want me to just read it off right now?
Read it.
Yeah.
I do want you to read
Don't
it
just
off.
keep it to yourself.
I just want to look up the best shooting percentages in the clutch in the playoffs so far. So I filtered down on NBA.com best clutch true shooting percentages in the playoffs, minimum 10 shots. Number 1, Nikola Jokic, 7 of 10 from the field in the clutch. Last 5 minutes of the game when the score is within 5 points. 89.3 true shooting percentage. He's 3 of 4 from 3. Number 2, Jamal Murray. Has a 80.2 true shooting percentage in the clutch in the playoffs. 14 of 22 from the field. 7 of 9 from 3 in the clutch is Jamal Murray. 7 of 9 from 3.
Look, I want to believe that those numbers are very sustainable. I don't know if they are. But
They are.
But the point is that it doesn't matter if it was 80%, 70%, 60%, 50%. The number was good.
Yes.
It was going to be good because these 2 guys have been really good. Now they're going up against even tougher competition. LeBron James now has many seasons of having similar sort of productivity. So I'm going to begin vote with the LeBron whisperer here. Who has the advantage in the clutch? Tie game, 5 minutes. Neutral site.
So the initial instinct is LeBron for what you said before, the computer stuff. I mean, LeBron's a machine, and there is, for all the mountains he's had to climb in his career, he won't overlook the Nuggets, but he's not afraid right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Wait, you don't think he's scared of the Nuggets?
But LeBron is not a clutch jump shooter these days necessarily. And
that is what's going on online these days.
I do think there's a world in which, like, when there are times when things get tight for that Lakers team and he just starts launching threes, like, that's not the way at this point. And so the Nuggets have 2, and I'm going Denver. I think Jokic is a top 3 closer in the world, and I think Jamal's closing in on that.
Did we
on
big
that.
market bully him into that take?
I think we might have.
I mean, I can't take the Lakers stuff. You guys are gonna bully the shit out of me.
we'll bully the shit.
I think
mean
it's so. I think it's so even, man. Like both these teams know what they're doing in the clutch. I feel like Denver knows it's going to be the 2-man game.
Yep.
The Lakers, I feel like it can be the 2-man game, or they're just giving it to Anthony Davis, which is probably the Nuggets' kind of best option if you're defending the Lakers in the clutch. Like if you can make Davis shoot the shot, it's probably your best outcome. But
In my bag is my
I mean, these might be the 2 teams in the league who just
Gray
like
bag.
know what they're doing in the clutch every single time down.
More so than
The Clippers also. I mean, the Clippers kind of knew, but
Did it look
Turns-
that way?
Turns
in
out
Game
not so
7?
much
Yeah.
because they had
You
no
thought
idea.
they knew.
Well, they thought they knew because they were like, "We'll just have Kawhi Leonard score a bunch of points." And
But-
he scored 0.
You know,
Oh,
what's
I
so-
know. That is 100% what they thought.
Of
Was like, it
course.
doesn't matter. And it wasn't a bad thought, to be honest with you.
No.
I mean, you wish they would.
It's the tradition. Like the NBA is built on that.
Yeah. Just clear out. We got 2 guys that can just cook. Maybe throw Lou Will in there. We got a 3rd guy.
And the
it
other
was-
thing,
they
too,
all
is-
turned into pumpkins at the same time.
is the matchups and the rotations. Like, if Malone feels the need to put certain guys out there, I mean, just LeBron's always going to find a way to
Yeah.
exploit the weak link.
I do wonder about
Weak link.
the complementary players that are going to be on the floor in the clutch. Like, who do you trust more to make an open 3? Because, you know, the Lakers could force the ball out of Jokic and Murray's hands. The Nuggets could force the ball out of LeBron and AD's hands in a late game situation. Do you trust Gary Harris, Jeremy Grant,
Paul Millsap.
Paul
probably, I
Millsap
think, yeah.
to make a 3, or do you trust Danny Green, Rajon Rondo,
Alex Caruso.
Kyle Kuzma to make a 3? So
Yeah.
that might come down to that too.
I think it actually will. D-Line, do you have comments on this? What do you think?
I was I'm sorry, I got lost in the comments because we're talking about Harrison's ankles being exposed, just like Quinn Snyder. They're talking about
Oh, wow.
Vote's shirt, and then I
I'm
was
on
like,
very
and I was
Quinn Snyder
saying,
vibe. Vans
please,
and,
no one mention my shorts because I didn't realize we were going to be filming this.
Nemanja says he wants to know where I get my shirts, so he knows not to get them.
Don't tell him.
You know what?
Don't
No,
tell
that's
him.
a good call. 'Cause
You know what,
could
Nemanja?
not pull any of these out.
Oh! I think he's implying you can't either.
Yeah, no, that's the idea. He's probably right.
What do we have here?
Adam's calves are back.
Oh,
That's
the
right,
male
baby.
Calf
form.
Baby
season.
male form. To get up and flex on y'all.
That's a strong cap.
So you don't have a take other than to point out the comments.
Well, I got lost.
Comments are good.
I got lost in the
comment
sauce. I
section's
don't
always
know.
Wrapped
great.
up.
What were you guys talking about? The Nuggets?
We were.
Nuggets and the Lakers.
I'll go ahead and I don't care if you bully me. I think the Lakers have the advantage in the clutch here. And here's
Well, you can say it.
well, I can say, here I go. Here's the thing, though. It's the same with Jamal Murray. He's won me over in this because he has slayed the dragon. He's proven it. Look, I think Denver is incredible in the clutch. I really do believe that. They have to. You don't get the crown until you beat the king. Yeah. Right now, LeBron is the king of closing out games and just not losing before he gets to the finals. And so here we are. The Denver, I want to believe that they're capable of it, and I do believe that they are capable of it. They just haven't proven it. So I'm going to give that edge to the Los Angeles Lakers.
So I do have a take now that I remember what we were talking about. I think that having the two guys that can do it is better than one, as votes say. I mean, it's just you have. LeBron is the ultimate clutch guy, but he's just not. I mean, he's the ultimate clutch guy in that he uses clutch sports to dictate the way that league is moved around.
Hey, we have a whole segment at the end here on Lakers hatred. Don't worry, we're going to really explain all the reasons. Who wants to root for the stormtroopers of the NBA?
But
right?
I'm saying, LeBron is not washed, but he's a little rinsed. He's not the same version of himself that he used to be. It's not like you just get out of the way and LeBron's just going to.
That's
pull
what
you
people
over.
say when they say Wash King, and this is why the Lakers pushback is so ridiculous to me. Is he as good as he was in 2016?
No, of course not. Of course not.
Probably not. Is he still good enough to win a championship?
Totally,
Probably.
totally.
It's just the first year that we've seen. Last year you had the excuse of he got injured. This year you're like, okay, no. Clearly, at least through 82 games, he's looks a little slower. And so far in the playoffs, as good ever mentally, but. Still a little bit out of this or that. The funny thing is he might only end up taking 16 games to win a championship.
But this is the funny thing about LeBron
one.
James and just the way that LeBron James has led his very long and very successful career is that he is known for coasting and then turning it on when he needs to. And we've not gotten to the point where he needs to yet. So we don't know if this coast that he's been on is his. I mean, we've seen a few games where he's really.
He turned it on against Houston when he needed
it. Yeah. But Houston is.
And he's going to turn it on against Denver.
But Houston was a flawed team. They could not have had
Denver's not.
No, but I'm saying in their construction, much more Houston was. They had this weird gimmick lineup where it was all small guys that shot the three. They had no one inside to go against a team of giants.
Houston
they had
no
chance.
counters for sure. They had
no
one.
chance.
They had one way of
hit
playing
those threes.
Yeah. So I'm saying it's not going to be such easy sailing for the LeBron Lakers the way they are constructed against the Nuggets, and I like that Jamal Murray now is going to hit. What was that? 98% of his 3-point shots. I like that.
Well, here, let's get to the stonk report here because this gives us a good chance to talk about all of those players. We have our stonk report ready to go.
Oh boy!
Oh my God! Look at it, it's gorgeous.
Someone just pointed out. He says, "I love how a non-game day is when you bust out the real analysis and don't drink any beer."
That reminds me.
That's the most analysis we've done in months.
That reminds me.
we make up a game?
Can we get a beer?
Oh, actually, the bar is.
Well, we don't have anything to react to. That's the thing.
All right.
Oh man.
Jamal Murray, guys, we're just going to go through this Nuggets players. So I thought he had a very good close to that series in this last one. But going up against, going to be guarded, I imagine, by KCP. I imagine Rajon Rondo, and I imagine a lot with Alex Caruso, who I think is a fantastic defender. I really do.
Yeah.
And in funny ways, it might
He's
be,
like a Gary Harris type defender.
Is. Oh yeah, he might. It's
ball pressure.
It's kind of funny that the Maple Mamba and the Golden Eagle or the Bald Eagle are going up against each other. It's like a Canada versus America battle here.
I hate that we have the guy.
I'm so glad we're on the Canada side.
Yeah, I am too. Very proud.
I just mean
proud Canadian over here.
Yeah, I know. I forgot that I was a Nuggets man. And
you're
not an American.
Yeah, you're not an American.
If Jamal goes off in this series, we got to hang a Canadian flag.
Oh man, we have to absolutely.
Oh right, stonk
report. That's our stonk report. So Jamal Murray here.
Pipe down.
Oh yeah. We have our.
You don't push us along. We push you along.
Is he going to have a better series in this round or a worse series than the previous one? We can throw out the Utah one.
Which who?
Jamal Murray.
Okay.
The Maple Jordan.
I'm voting with my heart here, guys. I'm voting with my heart here.
Sometimes your heart is
right.
right.
Mind. Come on.
Listen,
go ahead.
You think that I know that everyone thinks I'm just the clown, mainly because I'm the clown. But
I wonder why that is.
But I'm right about stuff quite a bit.
Nice.
I win I win a lot of money on DraftKings because
go.
I can actually look at sports and sort of see larger things that are going on and read larger trends. And Jamal Murray is on a very upward trajectory.
Good take.
absolutely high, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about stonks. We're talking about the trajectory of his stunk, and it is going sky high, baby. Bye, bye, bye. Jamal Murray is going to go through the roof.
I like that really insecure preface there.
I know. Well, yeah, you're right.
All right, Harrison, we heard
We
heard Eric's take. You're always the nice contrast.
Okay. My take. So we were talking about Caruso a second ago. I think he's a very Gary Harris-esque defender in the sense that he's super good, like tracking guys around screens and like staying close to guys. The
Super
defenders that Jamal Murray is going to go against in this series, Caruso, Danny Green, KCP, so much different than like Kawhi and Paul George.
Yeah.
So much less length, less physical, but they're quick, they're agile, they're going to be able to stay with them. But I still think Murray's going to have a big series. If he can have the type of success he had against the Clippers defenders, I just think he's going to have a couple huge games against the Lakers.
I hope you're right, because I think it's what's going to be needed for Denver to have any kind of chance in here. I as much as I think Jokic is phenomenal, is going to do all these things, their front court's very good too. Like he can dominate Anthony Davis, dominate Dwight Howard. They still have another at least competent big. I'm not saying that then JaVale McGee. I'm just saying that it would take so much work to beat all of the bosses down that you finally get to somebody that can't guard you. It's a little bit less pronounced for Jamal Murray, although I think all those guys can be very good defenders. That's the thing, is those aren't bums. I love Caruso's defense. So I think I'm voting with my heart with this green arrow, but to me it's 50-50, and a lot of how that matchup goes, how Murray scores in this series, is going to be how Denver does in this series.
It's tough. I mean, I still think just in front of who's directly in front of him, he'll feel like he's coming up for air. I mean, these guys are heady, capable defenders, but just so much size in that last series. And Jamal is a strong dude right now. Like that added weight has made a big difference. So often we hear that guys added weight and it never comes up again. Jamal's looked a different player, especially when driving. Like, I think he's going to be able to, in terms of passing, driving, and getting these shots off, like see around these guys a lot better. But that second level, I mean, the Clippers did not really have a ton of rim protectors.
Yeah.
He's going to be driving.
That's
these
a good
floors.
point. Great
It's a good point,
And
because he
so-
did do a lot of damage
At the
getting to
rim.
the rim.
He really did. He figured out a way to get past those guys, and once he got past them, the second level was easy.
Yeah.
But isn't a
So
lot of that is just Jokic forced those bigs out of the paint, even
But
if
they've
they're
got
not as
multiple-
big.
they've got multiple. That's the thing.
You have
but
the
you
Dale
have-
and AD out
and if
there.
AD's not guarding him,
Kawhi though is like almost like a big in a sense.
not like
not like AD though, man. I mean,
I guess
trying
so.
to score around AD is,
it's true. He's defensive player.
for
of the year.
everything I've said about him offensively, he might kind of have some Paul George in him. He might wilt. Defensively, he's that dude, and then some.
He's got a lot. I mean, come on. He went to He just forced to trade to Los
Anthony
Angeles to play
George,
with LeBron.
dude.
Like, get out of here, man. Of course he does. Do it on
Playoff
your own.
D.
Like, do it down. Just like have like he had one good playoff run in him, and that it was one round, and
Yeah.
then got murdered. Like, come on, get out
Yeah,
of here.
they beat
Right,
and they beat who they beat the Trailblazers.
But none of that matters when you're driving and he's protecting the rim. is all
Gary
I'm
Harris. Gary Harris in this round, stonk up or down?
saying. It's tough.
Man, you know what? I'm gonna go down.
Yo,
go
God,
up.
he didn't even have that good of a series.
I know, but he did make shots.
I thought he did.
So now you think he won't make shots?
Two things for me. Number one, who does he guard that makes the
Yes,
big impact? Because
yes.
it's not LeBron. So now, okay, he has to shut down Caruso. Well, Caruso doesn't score. He's got to shut down Danny Green. Well, that's an off-ball player. Rajon Rondo maybe, but even that I just don't know. So I don't know that
Rondo.
defensively he has the player to make the impact. And then, yeah, he's just got to make shots, which he did that in the last round.
Yes.
So if his stock goes up, that means he's going to do it even more.
Yes, he is.
All right.
You remember
There,
when
I
Gary
love
Harris
Eric.
used to
I love
score
Eric's
points?
positive.
You know when?
Positive.
But you
We
know
need
what?
it.
Do you remember when Gary Harris used to score points all the time? He was an 18-point a game.
It was
scorer?
2017. I do remember that, yeah.
Well, why? I don't. I just in
Because
my heart,
of the
in
3
my,
years that followed. That's why.
But he wasn't terrible. He wasn't under 10 points even in the years that were bad. Like he's around 10 points right now. Like
Okay.
he's gonna score 16 points a game. Like we're gonna see Gary Harris
I hope.
rounding back into form. Mark it down.
Yeah, I'm with D-Line. I think his shot looks great right
It does.
now.
His shot does
shot
look
lost
good.
the hitch.
amazing
It looks
right now.
good.
We saw him
Yep.
make a floater.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I like that.
Yeah,
I like
I'm
his
not gonna-
three-point shooting. Another thing about Harris, yes, they do not have the Paul Georges for him to guard.
Yes,
but,
they do not.
I can guarantee you we're going to see a couple defensive possessions this series where Gary Harris drifts off of Rajon Rondo and pokes the ball free from behind against LeBron.
Oh, sure, yeah,
He's
yeah.
going to be valuable as kind of a secondary, like, rover-type guy coming from the backside, weak side rotations. I think he's still going to have a lot of value defensively, even if he doesn't have to like lock down somebody.
I mean, I thought Gary Harris was one of the 5 most important players in that last series on either team.
Without question.
Just so good defensively. And the work
On and off ball. Yeah.
On and off ball. But, right, I mean, the only time he wasn't guarding Kawhi or Paul George, he was stunting and making a difference off ball. I mean,
so true.
So, I mean, if you watched the Game 7, I don't have matchup data, but it seemed to me possession by possession, he was on George or Kawhi every single time.
Yeah, I'm going to bet the over if I could get a Gary Harris steals prop in a game.
But he's not going to shut LeBron down because of a size thing. It's not a knock on Gary. And again, like, I think you nailed it. Is he mitigating the impact of Caruso and Rondo? And I just don't see that mattering as much.
Let's rush through these because we have a lot of stonks to get to. Jeremy Grant, you know, he did not shoot the ball well at all in the last series, but he did guard. He did guard. I'm going to go up. I'm going up.
I'll go
Wow,
down,
just
man.
flipped it, huh?
He was so good last series, and like
Defensively.
He wasn't good the whole time.
defensively, in my mind, he's
And
just
he wasn't good the whole time. You're right.
in
Kawhi had
my
some big
mind,
games.
he's just dude. Even when Kawhi was going off, like Jeremy Grant, I thought was still playing good
I agree.
defense.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
He's clearly the Nuggets' 3rd most important player. Last series, in this series, I think he's clearly established himself there. But, I mean, he is up against it, man. He's going to have to guard LeBron this series. He's going to have to guard Anthony Davis. He might be the Nuggets' best matchup on both those players.
That's a good point, dude. It's going to be tough.
He has his work cut out for him this series, man.
I don't think he's going to guard Anthony Davis. I think he's
Paul
going to guard
Millsap?
LeBron. No, I think he's going to guard LeBron. I think he's going to shadow LeBron's minutes, and it's going to be a very similar thing where they might throw multiple bodies at LeBron over time or anything, but I think his primary role in the series is go make LeBron 10% worse than he is.
Yeah.
And that's a battle margin.
He's Denver's best matchup, in my opinion. On LeBron.
Look, LeBron, as great as he is, teams have made him 10% less, and his teams have won and lost series where he was 10% less. But you can't. Nobody's saying go out there and shut LeBron down. Like, there's no player out there designed to do that. But if you can just make him 10% worse, boom, you did your job.
I'm really interested to
That's
see.
like trading the knight for the queen piece, right?
Yeah,
That's like a great
What,
trade.
what scares me though is I do think just from strength and then the lack of rim protection behind him. Like, I just think LeBron in these key moments when he decides to put his head down and get to the rim, I think he's going to be able to.
Well, Denver, I think, is going to have the luxury of throwing bodies at him. If they go with their shooting lineup, and they put Kuzma on the court around him, and they put Danny Green around him, KCP around him, like, I don't know. Like, Denver maybe can exploit that on the other end, and now you get into a little bit of a shootout. And I feel almost as comfortable with that as anything. If they end up saying, oh, no, we need Caruso, we want Rondo on the court, now you're just talking about, okay, Rajon Rondo, we're giving you a lot of open looks this series.
Right.
And you might make a lot of open looks, but I would take that. I would
playoff Rondo beat you over those
let
other
playoff
two
Rondo,
guys.
and he might. He's a good player as well.
Grant also, I think it was 40% from 3 against Utah, like 26% from 3 against the Clippers. He's going to get a ton of open shots again.
Yeah.
But will he be gassed again because of, like you described, the work?
Yeah.
But here's the thing with him. I don't know that he doesn't ever look gassed. Have you ever looked at Jeremy Grant and said, "Man, he looks tired"?
No, never.
He weighs nothing. He's like he's got like a marathon runner's body.
But
Yeah.
I almost mean like a mental fatigue
Except
thing,
he's
man.
6'10".
Yeah,
I just think it's so
6'9".
hard to have your mind on like my
yeah.
direct focus is Kawhi does not beat us, and then I'm shot ready every time.
You know what he's never done though? Made a deep playoff run. Perhaps this is the first time. It's like, oh, I never did that for 7 games. Now I
I'm
have.
used to it.
Now I'm a little more used to it. I mean, did he shoot the best in Game 7 than he did the whole series?
My thing is he had basically the same level of series, both the first and second.
No, he made everything in that first one, especially down the stretch.
He was huge.
He was
in that
40%.
game.
You forgot that.
I guess so.
You forgot that Denver gave up 130 points every
Maybe
game
I-
for the first 4 and
maybe
only
I-
lost by
maybe I
like
forgot.
5.
Well,
They kept like.
I mean, I guess I'm looking at it in aggregate because
Yeah.
I remember him having up and down. Like I remember him scoring like 18, but also like not being that.
But the
effective.
headroom's there offensively. That's
But I'm
why
saying
I
like
the-
his level has been set to a point. Like his water level has been set to a point where I feel like you just rely on what you're going to get out of Jeremy Grant. Like it's just like going to be good.
Do you guys agree that he's the 3rd most important player, though?
There's a big tie
think
after you
it's-
get after the first 2, but he's definitely probably
I
in the
think
top
he's-
of that tier.
yeah,
Of
I think
yeah.
he's
in this
separated a
series,
little
I think
bit.
so yeah.
I think it's in large part because LeBron's the most important player on the Lakers, and he's guarding LeBron. Another guy that will probably maybe play a little bit on LeBron is Paul Millsap. Stock
Man.
up or down for him, man. It's been kind of down. He hasn't really been that great in either one.
Yeah.
It was better in the Clippers series than the Jazz series, that's for sure.
I think this is a bad matchup for him. Though.
I'm gonna go up.
I'm going to go up. Going up.
Now let's hear from
Oh.
you guys. Let's hear some positivity.
All right.
Adam?
Win? Harrison?
You're like, I thought
Be my
everyone was
guest.
going up.
Caleb,
I
anything?
insist.
Paul Millsap's strength, his strength against LeBron. Like, if Denver forces LeBron into beating them from the perimeter, there's probably going to be a time when LeBron puts his head down and says, "Okay, I'm just going to get to the rim. I'm just going to try to get to the foul line." I think Paul Millsap's strength and experience could help there. No.
I mean, that's part of the argument here. His literal strength is going to matter here because they're going to be so big. People don't realize Paul Millsap, elite rebounder in college and early on in his career when he was more of a one-way player, like when he was a specialist. I think he has the NCAA record for rebound rate. He averaged 15 rebounds a game or something in college. I don't know if people know that.
Louisiana Tech. Right?
Louisiana Tech, and maybe I think he's the all-time rebounder there, whatever. So he actually has that skill in him, and it might be one of those series where it's like, hey, man, number one thing is they can't rebound in this
gotta
series.
box out.
They can't rebound. If we can keep them out of transition and off the offensive glass, they actually are pretty average in half court without second chance points.
Yeah.
Can you limit them there, and then two, can you win those battlegrounds?
Another thing is I don't know if he's going to be able to do this, but the Nuggets, they've never defended the lob really well. Can Millsap?
He can't reach the rim. Right
Can
now.
he just give a little arm bar to JaVale before he gets into the paint for the lob? Can he prevent that at all?
Who's going to be? So let's just say starters, cross matches. Who's guarding Millsap? Because
Anthony Davis probably
to start, right?
Yeah, keep him out. Don't let him guard
So
Yoke. Don't put
Millsap's
him in foul trouble.
Gotta hit open for he's got to make Davis think twice about leaving him wide open. It's gonna matter a lot.
I can't. Time is a flat circle. Were you guys aware of this? The last time I remember,
I've seen season 1 of True
yeah,
Detective.
the last
Really
time I
good.
started
Really
thinking
strong.
about JaVale McGee in a positive way, it was after he performed really well against the Lakers, and we paid him a bunch of money. He was going to be our savior, and here we are back now, encountering our old friend JaVale McGee on the Lakers. Unbelievable.
He's an actual Laker. It just fits too well. But Nikola Jokic, I mean, his stock was so high.
Oh my God.
I mean, it
in
was
that last one.
perfect. He just outplayed a top 3 player in the world.
I'm gonna go down.
Eric's unbelievable.
I love it, Eric. All right, we're the downers, but you can shame us.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about just points will probably be down. If you're talking about just overall
Assists probably also down.
overall game,
if we say rebounds, we might also
ability to orchestrate, ability to have mastery over that side of the court. I just never seen a player that is more quietly confident in a way that is not. It's not even that he's confident. It's just he is joyously robotic. He just is able to just go about his business, and it's only getting better and better. He's more and more locked in every game that we see him. I don't know how you can say anything other than up with this guy. I don't believe that we've seen the best of him either.
Yeah.
So that is up.
Yeah. Look, man, for him to be up in the series would be incredible. Let's put it this way. If he is up from what he did in the last round,
They win.
And there's a real conversation going into next season about whether or not he's the best player in the NBA. Because if you outplay Kawhi Leonard and LeBron James in back-to-back series, I almost don't even care what happens in the finals. Given the talent that's left, he would have a conversation. So that's why I went down. Not because I think he's going to be bad, not because this or that, but because what it would mean for his stock to actually be rising.
Dude.
Unlikely, but at least on the table. A little bit on the table.
The Apple stonk still goes up.
Okay, but Apple is the top. I'm saying right. He's not quite the Apple stock.
We're
yet.
looking at him.
Is he the Apple of the Apple stock of the NBA? I mean, come on.
He's the Tesla. He's the new thing.
He's rising fast.
He's rising fast. His
Stock
game
corner?
is.
What are we doing?
This is stonk. The stonk report.
Oh yeah.
So you're
literally.
saying I should
That's literally what we're doing.
stick with my Tesla stock. I try to get out of it. What do you think?
So I think.
It's Nikola
Look, I think this
Tesla.
is the worst matchup for him in the entire league.
I agree. This is going to be the worst, toughest.
And I say that he's going to be good.
Yeah.
We're talking about, in my opinion, 6th, 5th best player in the world. So, I think it's going to be really, really. I will say this though. I think we've all been in agreement. Jokic woke up this season from his November hibernation when he tried to take it to AD and he couldn't.
Yep.
And from that moment, he's had a different level of focus. He's been working his ass off, literally lifting like a maniac after every game, taking these matchups personally.
So true.
Vlatko told me after that game, Jokic cares more than you guys think, and from a competitive standpoint. So this is the most excited I've been in Jokic's entire career because there is one dragon left to slay in this big man conversation.
Agreed. So
And-
strongly
and
agreed
if,
with this.
If Jokic comes out and he gives it to AD, like I don't want to hear it from anyone else ever again.
Everybody's crowned him, by the way, best center. AD.
Center.
Everybody is like, yeah, AD's like a because he is. He doesn't play center. So AD is this. AD gets best big man. Jokic gets best center. And you're right. This is the opportunity for him to seize
just-
that, to
we
take
can-
that.
yeah.
But it's going to be tough because you're right. He hasn't done it yet.
Here's how Jokic's stonk can go up this series. I think he's shooting something like 50% on jump shots in the playoffs right now. He's been great out of the pick and pop. I think he's going to have to operate a lot out of the pick and pop in this series. He's going to have to hit a lot of jump shots. He's going to have to shoot around 40% from three, which he's done in the playoffs already.
Right.
He's been above 40% from three. So he's going to have to hit a lot of jumpers this series. He's going to have to hit a lot of elbow jump shots. I think he can because he's done that so far in the playoffs. But he's going to have to operate a lot in that kind of mid-range to three-point area.
Yeah, I think he. Foul trouble is going to be big too.
Yeah.
Dwight Howard draws a lot of fouls. Anthony Davis tries a ridiculous amount of fouls. LeBron James gets every call.
It's going to be really frustrating.
It's going to be very
It's gonna
frustrating
be
because I have a
very-
feeling he's going to pick up a lot of Anthony Davis flailing around calls, and it's just going to be like whatever.
Big flailing series.
A little big flailing
Stock
series from AD.
flail. Stock is up.
All right, let's
Stock is
rush
up.
through these guys because we gotta move on here. Monte Morris quickly. Stock up or down in this series? You know what? Wow.
I'm going to go down.
I'm going down,
I mean,
baby.
I
Dude,
don't know.
I'm actually hoping we get some
Composure?
We get some composure. We're gonna. The long boys are gonna be needed this series. Like this is where Denver has been changed since we saw them earlier in the year, and Rajon Rondo's a big guy, right? Like if he plays against the second unit at all, he's gonna be able to cook Monte. They don't have a lot of. I mean, thankfully Avery Bradley didn't make it into the bubble to really give us a lot of defensive problems at the point of attack there, but. I'm hoping, I just see Monte Morris being sort of like a little, just amongst a little midget amongst the trees, and we need to bring in a little taller.
Could be true. Torrey Craig.
Um,
Up. I'm down. Why are you guys up?
Defensively. I
Oh,
think
thank you. Yes. Offensively, clear out for him. I mean, is this a series? He's going to cook.
I just think he'll be more needed.
Is he?
He'll
Can
be
he
more
guard
physical.
LeBron?
yeah, I was just
I think he's their second best matchup on LeBron.
my logic was with Eric at first. Like he is going to be more needed.
He is a good defender.
He is
but
going to be
who's he
more
guarding?
needed, but is he going to succeed?
Will he step up? I don't know.
I don't know.
I know. I'm in a
I
weird
actually
place.
thought Craig 6 and 7. Craig had an outstanding games
Yeah,
defensively.
he did.
But also 1 through 5, Craig was really bad in that series.
bad.
There's a lot of headroom for the stonk here.
So bad.
Here's an interesting one. Michael Porter Jr. This is maybe the most interesting one of all. I'm gonna go up, but this is a hopeful up.
Yeah.
It's a hopeful up.
I'm
Harrison,
going to go down.
All right, Harrison. Here are the down. There's a very clear reason for.
I
down.
mean, it's just like they're playing LeBron. They're playing an experienced team.
There is.
And I think they're probably going to target him a lot defensively.
Well, first off, they're playing an experienced guy, not an
Well,
experienced team.
Yeah,
I don't
Rondo's
know.
experience.
Not
The Danny
together.
Green's experience.
not
They've got a
together.
lot of playoff games under their belt.
Dwight Howard's
And
experience.
I just feel like this could be a more Torrey Craig series than Michael Porter Jr. series.
Yeah.
I hope not, because you got to win those bench minutes too, man. You gotta win those bench minutes.
Very
gotta
excited for the Porter Kuzma face-off, though. Very excited for those
God,
minutes.
I'm not excited.
Are you
for
talking
any
about on
aspect
social
of Kuzma.
media or?
No, between the lines.
I set up and I immediately regret it. They are going to target him every single time, and I don't. Unlike with Utah, where I felt like he started to figure things out slowly to become only bad, not atrocious. And in the Clippers series, I thought he was only, semi-bad as opposed to bad. This is a series where I think he goes back to atrocious again because he's guarding a guy that is just going to draw fouls on him so easily can overpower him and outsmart him that I don't know that there's going to be an ability to hide him. The reason I immediately went up was, he's now 14 games into play. Like, there's a lot of players that don't have 14 games playoff experience. He's not tired because he isn't playing the minutes that he needed.
He's also at the point where he's probably not even thinking about that. This is the playoffs
Yes,
anymore.
I would
This
agree.
feels like a regular game now.
And if ever there was an opportunity, look, I thought this with Jamal Murray early on in his career when he was young and breaking in. What you do against the Lakers matter so much for your brand.
Oh, yes,
There's
it
so
does.
many people that know Jamal Murray as this like edgy trash talking guy because he trash talked Lonzo Ball and D'Angelo Russell. Like that's why. And so what you do here, so if he comes out in this series and knocks down his shots and plays with a little bit of confidence, that's going to be huge. I just think it's going to be more like Malone. I think is going to have a really hard time trusting him. If I were Malone, I might throw him out there with some of these lineups that you know are going to give up a lot of points, but say, hey, right now we have to steal some of these minutes in a nice offensive lineup that are going to just score.
I foresee a future where MPJ can actually provide quite a bit of scoring off of the bench.
Oh, of course.
Like have a couple of those games where he is the catalyst. He's like what turns the tide of a game or two and could swing the series. Like he just has it in him. And, especially if we get these closing minutes where we do assemble the long boys, we get Jamal, we get Jokic, we get MPJ, we get Grant, Millsap, and the Lakers are keyed in on Jamal and Jokic, like fire away. Like, I can just see it.
Yeah, I mean, I've got my Homer hat on big time with this take. This
You
is
literally do.
This is. Oh, I guess that's
you
true.
have a
You
Denver
can buy
flag
it
on
at the
your hat.
DNVR merch.
That is a homer hat. Yeah.
Oh, it's a great hat. I think 14 playoff games later, I think this is our first taste yet of the big moment, the big stakes, the jersey on the team across from him, the player across from him brings out a taste of the best of him. I think we get MPJ to some level rising to this moment. I don't think he'll be the fourth or fifth best player in this series, but I think he hits some big shots, and I think he's thinking what Adam said. This is the Lakers. This is the conference finals, and this kind of scares me too.
Oh, yeah,
but
for sure.
But I think his mouth is salivating.
Nothing to
know what
lose,
else
baby.
sounds
Let
like.
it fly. Get out there on the court. Let it fly. Let's take a break. On the other side, guys, we're going to wrap up the third segment. We're going to have a little bit of fun before we get out of here.
For a first time.
For the first time ever, yeah. If you think we get sloppy after the game, we'll have a little bit of sloppy. And we're going to have a half-court heave. So in the comment section, start sharing us. What's your half-court heave? If you don't know, a half-court heave is something you don't have to fully believe. But you're gonna throw. But you're gonna throw it out there in case it hits. You can be like, "I told you guys. I told you this would happen. I told you Jamal Murray would have 2 50-point games in the first round."
Well, I got to start over on my half-court heave.
Now is the point in the show when we discuss the WGT tournament for this upcoming weekend. We do them every weekend here at DNVR. Sign up for WGT, download the game, and then search for the DNVR 3 Country Club. That way you will automatically be entered into all of our tournaments every single weekend. And when you're not playing in those, you can play against 20 million people online. Play a bunch of classic courses, head-to-head, close to the pin. WGT, super fun game. Also, check out Strava Craft Coffee. You can get 20% off with the code DNVR20 online at StravaCraftCoffee.com. They also have a really cool subscription service. So if you are addicted to Strava Craft Coffee, like a lot of us are,
what's the number to call? That's DraftKings.
That's the gambling hotline. You can get your coffee delivered multiple times a week. Wow, I can't talk. Multiple times a month with that Strava Craft Coffee delivery service. Remember, code DNVR20 online at StravaCraftCoffee.com.
Alrighty. We're not going to be able to hear it. All right. Producer guy has a video for us. I have no idea what it is.
Producer guy even here?
He's not.
And then there is the most delicious of the teams for me, the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets can distraction the opponents just like, hey guys, it's tip-off here. Enjoy these nice, tasty sugar snacks. Oh yes, Patrick Beverly, it's unlimited Nuggets. Have as many as you like. And then Jokic goes and makes a nice swishy donkey, and Michael Porter's like, 3-3-3. And Jamal Murray is like, time to score 50 once more. And also we have the Los Angeles Lakers. I know also you have won many of the trophies, but your name is make no sense. The Lakers? I'm in Los Angeles right now. There are 0 lakes here. There are no lakes. There's reservoirs, artificial lakes. Change your name, please. Los Angeles Reservoirs. I like that. It sounds very French. Yeah. Your mascot could be like a baguette walking through Beverly Hills, holding many shopping bags and wearing like the sunglasses of Jack
You're
Nicholson.
playing somebody else's podcast on this?
Jack Nicholson, the man from that Scary Mountain House movie. What was it called? oh, I'm a writer, and then I'm crazy. And then he's like, red rum, in the elevator with the bloodies.
Well,
God,
the
wie
stream is
heißt denn das
way
jetzt?
behind.
It's
Yeah.
from the King Stephen. King Stephen wrote it. Anyway, your baguette will have glasses. Done.
Love that guy. Love that guy.
Unbelievable.
That one was for Damon Ables in the comments, who really does love that guy, I think.
We couldn't
Started
hear
off
the
strong
video.
and got better. That's
We just so everyone knows, we could not hear the video. We don't.
have no
we
idea
didn't know.
what it was
We didn't know
about.
nothing.
You tell us.
We,
You say what
we
you
were
thought.
informed that it was funny, but
Drum roll, please. Can we play Would You Rather? Western Conference Finals Edition. Do we have our graphic? Is it up? Who do we got here? A little Would You Rather. Ooh, Adam, yes.
Oh man,
That's
that was
very
a,
suggestive graphic.
it was well. There was that was an Adam day. If you'll remember, I always change who was favorite.
Either or. It's like it's the same question. All right. Would you rather, guys, a defensive battle or a shootout at the OK Corral in this series? What do you feel gives Denver the best chance?
Shootout.
Really?
Shootout. Yeah.
I'm going defensive battle, man. Defensive
too.
battle. Dude, they held the Clippers under 105 points in 5 out of 7 games. They held them to like 95 points in Game 6, less than 90 in Game 7. Second half defense.
Yeah.
Let's do it again.
Timely stops.
Yeah, I'm going defensive battle.
Man, defensive battles are bad for my health.
They're
So-
so stressful.
They're
They are
so stressful. I would
stressful.
much prefer an offensive shootout where we're gonna run around and slap ourselves like we're riding horses every time they hit a three. But I don't really know. That probably won't happen.
I feel like Kyle Kuzma participates in a shootout at the OK Corral and not a defensive battle. And I'd
gets
just
shot.
rather not
Oh, man.
Kuzma shoot over Jesus, aka Bol, in the last seconds of a meaningless game for Denver, and then brag about it. So I'd rather that not be the case.
Yeah.
But seriously, I think Denver can go from a tough defensive draw it out to closing a game with scoring more than I think the Lakers can. Whereas I don't know that the Nuggets and Lakers can score 110 points through 3 quarters and then count on Denver to lock up. Okay, it's the 4th quarter. Now let's shut down a very comfortable LeBron and Anthony Davis. No, I'd rather everybody be uncomfortable. Denver lives best in the uncomfortable.
What about a shootout at the OK Corral in the first 4 games? Let Denver get down 3-1.
That's it.
And then a defensive battle in
That's
the
the
last
ticket.
3.
Perfect.
He wants it all.
Would you rather Anthony Davis has a bad series or LeBron James has a bad series? Eric.
Anthony Davis. I would rather Anthony Davis has a bad series because we know what we're going to get out of LeBron. Even if he has a bad series, like he still won't have a bad series. Anthony Davis can have a bad series.
Yeah.
You know, like he's going to have he's going to be shooting from the outside a lot. If his shot's not dropping, it really limits what the Lakers are able to do. So absolutely. I mean, by bad series, I definitely don't wish this upon him, but he'll definitely get hurt.
Don't say that. I don't want that. No, one thing, though, is that look Kawhi Leonard was given. I was laughing because the Nuggets made Kawhi give faces he's never given before.
Totally.
Kawhi never gives any
you mean
expression.
you mean expressions?
Yeah, but he was given, like, confused look. And, like, and there was that time, like, I'm telling you, man, I wish you could be inside of Kawhi's brain when Paul George hit the side of the backboard in the 4th quarter of that game with, like, 6 minutes to go, and he hits the side of the backboard. I want to see LeBron look at Anthony Davis.
Like he did.
Anthony Davis has 8 points on 14 shots, and then it's the 4th
Kevin
quarter.
Love, we already have that picture of
Oh,
him looking
yeah.
at Kevin Love like, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
that's what I want. I want LeBron to be like, wow, I can't trust this MF
Yeah.
because Big Joker over here is dominating him.
Yeah, I'm with Anthony Davis. I'm on that side of this because if like Jeremy Grant shuts down LeBron James, the Nuggets might have to pay Jeremy Grant $20 million.
That's a great point.
In a contract.
I like an
this
economically
summer.
based take.
Yeah, that is a very good one. Because we love this
Beyond
player
the
and we don't want to
stomper
pay him.
So I hope he sucks. Speaking about a deal.
I think LeBron's the best player in the world still, but I don't think he can beat a team by himself. I mean, I don't think he's like right now. I think more than I've ever seen him in his career, he is trying to pass the ball. He is trying to get Anthony Davis going. He knows Anthony Davis is a mismatch against virtually everyone. So I think if you take that away from LeBron and you get him to force the issue a little bit, look, he can and he will, but he doesn't want to score a lot for 7 games. So the other thing, too, is one of these things is on the table and the other is not, in my opinion.
Very true. Very true. Very true.
Would you rather Jokic hits a Game 7 buzzer beater
That one.
to win the series, or Jamal Murray drops 50 in a Game 4 sweep?
Ooh. Holy smokes! I thought I
Give me
was
the
already
sweep,
locked in.
man. Give me the sweep.
Yeah, give me the sweep. I need some part
The
of my
Nuggets
life
came
back.
out and swept the Lakers. Like,
Oh my god! Holy shmikey! Well, but think about this. Like,
Eric might die and ascend to heaven.
yeah, like just that. Even just to tell you that I've like not even considered that as an option. Like I just allowed that for the first time to enter my brain that could take place. There's something I want the moment more than I want the shellac. Like I want that. I've changed my answer. I want this game 7 where we can just replay it over and over. And you get that one shot that just makes you feel like.
I don't know if my body can take another game 7.
It's not about us anymore.
It isn't
It's just not
about if
us.
we have to sacrifice our own health and the safety, we would. 7 games is great for us because that's 7 lounges. And
I
just
don't know if it's
enjoy
good for
that
us
personally,
personally, right?
experience.
Yeah, well,
The Nuggets have never not played 7. I think it'd be really sweet if they made it to their first finals exclusively off of 7-game series. I just think it would be too
That
cool.
actually would be awesome.
I just think it'd be great. So as much as I would love Murray to really just dance on the graves of the Lakers in a sweep, unlikely as that is, I'll take the 7 games. I'll take the heartbreaker. I will take the ascension, the iconic.
we're just all about the journey here.
We are all about the journey.
It doesn't even matter. Like we're offered the easiest, most delicious option.
No, I know.
We eschew it.
And we're like, we'll take a little more suffering for just a slight.
You're
We'll
like-
take a lot of suffering for just a tiny bit more
Y'all are out of your
pleasure.
minds for this take, man. Give me the sweep all day.
Yeah, I'm with
I'm telling you what happens. I'm telling you, you could be guaranteed what happens. Like, future you gets to
Yeah.
meet you
I'll
and say,
take
which
the
one?
guaranteed sweep.
yeah,
I
yeah.
will. First of all, if the Nuggets sweep the Lakers, Brian Windhorst will retire. Like he
Yo,
won't podcast about that.
but I
He'll
have
just
something I
stop
have a take.
working.
You could guarantee me it's going to happen, but when the Nuggets are down at halftime in
still
Game
like-
7, I'm like, wait, what? What, guys?
What I don't want to have happen, and what the Lakers are actually up against right now, is what our beloved Colorado Rockies, or at least my beloved Colorado Rockies, went up against when they made it to the Rocktober. I'm looking at Brent vote.
My bad.
4-4-4.
They swept their way through the playoffs and then had an abnormally long layoff. And
It
then
went
they got
from fall to winter during
smacked.
that
They
break.
got smacked in the World
God
Series.
smacked in the World
Like we don't want the Nuggets to all of a sudden. And granted, the two
Granted,
series
they're
are-
already in game 2 tonight.
yeah, the
so-
series are not lined up exactly, but I don't want the Nuggets to be like sitting for a week waiting for the finals to start. Like, and the Lakers are actually coming into this game with a little bit of layoff, not a long, but
enough that I
Yeah.
think you can. That's a real thing. Will they be rusty? Would you rather play this in a neutral setting or a regular arena? I don't know. I have this one on here. Obviously it's going to be a neutral setting, but is there any part of you that wishes that we got that this was in Denver? I
Yes.
almost
I
feel
mean,
like it gives Denver an advantage.
yes, because we would be there.
That's true.
That would be
I like
amazing.
being here too.
Well, I know, but I want to be. Can we
You're
be
right.
there? Is it us? Can we go to the game together?
I know. Yeah. Yeah. This one's easy.
See, I almost think that that the Nuggets have a better shot at beating the Lakers in a neutral environment, just because of weird bubble intricacies. The fact that they came back from 3-1 twice, I think, only happens in a bubble. I think it's a more even playing field in a bubble environment, even without the home court stuff. So
There is something too, that would be so great for future arguments in general. It just, if the Nuggets won their first title ever in a neutral environment, so that the detractors, the altitude deniers, the people who say that we have an unfair advantage when people come to our arena, and the Nuggets were able to just go on flat ground and take it to every,
You know what I
every
would
team
say?
in the NBA.
I'd be like, guys, the altitude's been killing. But think of how many championships
I know.
we'd have. If
That's
it
what I'm
wasn't
saying.
for-
So
That's what I'm saying. Like, don't you want
Yeah.
these argument points?
Oh, of course.
All right, so that's what we
They'd
need
have
to
like
back
8
in
champions.
Bring it back to Denver, boys.
They'd probably have at least 16, right? I mean,
I mean, I don't want to be like the bringer of the bummer take here, but like, do the Nuggets even have much of a home court advantage in a Lakers series? And
Yeah.
I mean, the Lakers
the
crowd
altitude's
just.
the only thing.
I mean, yeah, the altitude, right? But the crowd is going to be like 60-40.
no,
well, not these
it's
days.
changed-
Not these
it's
days.
changed,
You're
but
right.
you're right that it's enough to make you like
My
annoyed.
larger point, I still think
We're worried
stands.
if somebody shows up in a Lakers jersey, I'm kicking their ass out tomorrow. I don't
Oh,
care. I don't
Nighthawk.
care who it is.
Are you
I do
listening
not
to this,
care who it is.
Nighthawk?
This is a DNVR. This is the
I'm gonna
Denver
show up in a
bar. You
Lakers
get over here.
jersey. I wanna
I'm
test
just letting
this.
you know we're spitting in your food. If you come in a Lakers, and I'm not even joking. I will personally go to the backyard.
Unless you're
You're
from the
getting
health
nachos with
department.
thumbtacks,
from the health
baby.
At
department.
which point we won't.
At which point I'll put an undetectable.
Yeah.
something in there.
Unbelievable.
Can I get
All
a
right.
liter of cola?
I wanted to do a whole segment here on why I hate the Lakers. I had a whole bullet point list here, but I'm just gonna go skim over it and say that they absolutely suck. And
Well, can we at
there's
least
like
get the graphic? Can we
three-
get the
oh,
Lakers,
yeah, do we have Laker
the
hate?
Lakers takes graphic?
Lakers
takes.
Ah.
Busted through with some Lakers
Well,
takes.
I will just say this though, because obviously I know there's a lot of cool Lakers fans. There's way more not cool Lakers fans. I mean,
Well,
like
like, you're just
every like snot-nosed kid that wanted to like piss off their friends that would be like, I'm a Lakers fan, and it's just I'm a Cowboys, Lakers, Yankees fan, and it's just like a thing. There's anybody that hitches their wagon to the team that provides the least amount of suffering. That's like there's like a specific type of person for that. I'm not saying it's all Lakers fans, because there's actually real ones as well that kind of just live and die by it. There's a real culture around it, but there's also this enormous secondary culture of Lakers fans that are just there to talk the shit, because it's like being they're like the rich kids of sports, right? They try to hitch their wagon.
Championship or bust, not because this is our moment, because that's our baseline.
Yeah, that's our baseline, exactly.
and what when bust means what? Like you just
Then
you force
you just wait to
6
get
years
the
and
next
LeBron
best
joins your
chip.
team.
You force
Yeah.
Anthony Davis to your team,
Right.
and you talk about why the New Orleans Pelicans deserved it, because for some like esoteric reason
Unbelievable.
they deserve what they got. And you know what? Giannis should leave the Bucks. They deserve it. They deserve it. Come to the Lakers. Look what we do. We deserve
who
it.
is this
with
voice?
our-
Yeah, this voice is terrifying. We have to be honest.
This is Lakers.
Lakers,
Lakers, bro.
Lakers had
They're like
me.
Chin
Rob
strap
Blink and
Lakers.
Magic
Oh,
Johnson just like
Lakers.
combined.
No, but for real, one of the things the Lakers fans have done, because the Clippers mercenaried their way to this team, right, this year, they were like, oh, well, we're the mom and pop shop. We get to do that. And they
really
were this whole
have done
bit.
that,
They
yeah.
were setting the table for a Clippers matchup in which they got to play
Oh my
some facade of the
God.
white hat. Well, guess what, MFers?
Nice.
6 years ago, both the Nuggets and Lakers began a rebuild, and for all 6 years of that, the Lakers told us how their players were better. Julius Randle,
So good.
better than Jokic.
So good. Knicks.
Hold
legend.
on.
Wait, they
D'Angelo
actually said
D'Angelo
that
Russell,
one?
better
Who
than
said
Moutier. Well,
Somebody
Pelicans
said
lesson. And
Lonzo Ball's better. Lonzo Ball better than Murray. We got Brandon Ingram better than MPJ. Like every single player they got, and turns out they didn't actually care about any of those people, which we now know, which was the most predictable thing ever. They just polished their turd until they could force sale it on some poor suffering fan base. And
Yeah.
now they're like, well, look what we do. Look what we
Sorry,
bought.
New
So
Orleans,
I think
for
it's
that
hilarious
polished
because
turd.
they could have been the lesser of two evils in their own mind against the Clippers. They don't get to be that against the Nuggets, and I think it's something so sweet.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And if Denver gets to be the true bad news Bears, and like,
And you know what? To Eric's point, like the Lakers are at least like emulating or putting out into the world this air of like we're closer, we play for each other more than the Clippers. But that isn't that has to be a tested concept. It's very easy to play
Yeah.
for each other when you're cruising.
right.
And so
every team is together when you're up 30 in games 4.
and you're like, oh,
Winning's
yeah,
the
LeBron,
best
this
deodorant,
is sick.
baby.
Let's make a
I
new
think
high
it
five.
was Stan Van Gundy who might have said it on a recent podcast, but he was like, "I know who every team's leader is when you're playing well, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
everybody wants to be a leader. Everybody's
such a good
talking
line.
when you're playing well, but
be
like
right
when
back.
you're not playing well,
Yeah.
that's when you really find out."
We'll wrap up here with a little half-court heave. This half-court heave, if you don't know, this is where we make a crazy prediction. You guys can give us yours. There's Super
Yeah,
Mascot
let's hear 'em.
Rocky. I'll give mine first. I think, and this is I don't know if I really believe this, but I
Oh,
hope I'll
boy.
believe it.
Okay.
Oh boy.
I think Michael Porter has a 30-piece in him in this series.
That's spicy.
I've called this. This has been my half-court heave in every series. I'm sticking with it. Michael Porter has a
Ed
30-piece.
Fuego.
Spicy.
You can see it.
Oh, absolutely. I might even bet on it. I mean, I'm thinking. I mean, I really do see a world in which Michael Porter Jr.'s scoring is needed by the Nuggets. It's not just a cherry on top. Like
He has to score so much to make up. You get it.
Oh, just
You know how much he has
to
to score on to be able to be on the court with LeBron James? I mean, he needs to score over 2 points per shot.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough.
I guess so.
But you know what? Let's do it. All right, Eric, what do you have?
My half-court heave is that I just think Jamal is going to continue to cook. I think we're going to get some more like just disgusting numbers out of him. I think we're going to get things that have 4s in them, maybe things that have 5s.
Oh.
Meaning 14 and 25,
Yeah, I was
obviously.
going to say, wow, yeah.
No, I believe, I don't, that's true. It's not that hot of a take, but I just think that the ascension
pretty hot
continues.
take.
The stonk, like the
if you
pressure
drop
keeps
40
rising
points in a Western Conference Finals,
Against
that's a
the-
big deal, man.
against defensively minded Lakers.
Yeah.
That's my hot take. Let's go.
That's a very good defensive team. Yeah.
Stole my hot take. I was gonna say Jamal for
You guys
50.
are feeling Jamal.
Oh,
Wow,
yeah.
Jamal for 50. That's even hotter. He went 40.
Yeah, I'll go 50.
That's a full on a 50 piece. Come on,
yeah,
guys.
2 of them against the Jazz.
Jamal Murray 50.
We had a 45 and a 50, right? Do you have a?
I mean,
Yeah.
someone said like in the comments, I think Jamal averages 30, and my first instinct was like, that's absurd. And then you
Lee
go, well,
low.
actually,
They have great defenders on the perimeter. I mean, I think people are underselling some of their defenders.
I think it's just more to the point that like Jamal is actually capable of tier 1 stuff. Whether or not he gets there, another question.
Yeah.
Gary Harris for 20 points. Ooh, is that a half court heave?
That's one.
I
Definitely a
think
half
so.
court
Yo,
heave.
take
I
some,
think so.
take some peppers
off.
off that bad boy. That's gonna happen.
All right, what do we got?
MPJ 25.
Yeah,
piece.
that's simply
Oh,
hot.
I went 30, so you got to downgrade him for 25.
That's what happens when you walk away from the show.
You just found out what Harrison Winslow
Man, how do
was
you
like.
do this stuff? Wade?
It's a lesser version.
How do we feel about?
You're
how
like,
do we-
I guess $1.
any other half court heaves we want to throw out here so we can replay the tape?
Yeah, Nuggets in 6. No, I don't even.
Dude, are we making predictions?
Let's do it.
I think
Actually, no, it's on the DNVR.com. You
Nice.
can check out our predictions.
Eric's isn't he?
yeah, mine.
No, Eric's is. I want.
Oh,
Eric's making his writing debut.
Okay.
He's going to write
All right.
Nuggets in 6 or
All right. Well,
Lakers in 6.
I'm going to write tweet-based material for DNVR.com. Okay, well, can I just say also, it sounds like you're wrapping up. Right?
I am.
We just dropped a shirt. We just dropped a shirt that embodies
Oh,
everything
so embodies.
about the
So
matchup that
embodies.
we're about to go into. I promised to drop it yesterday. I didn't do it. My life fell to pieces. But it's dropped now. The shirt is No Coast Bias. And the
No
reason,
Coast Bias.
This is a
baby.
shirt. It wasn't something we just made. We've been sitting on this for a while. It's
We've been sitting on this for a long time.
We've been sitting on it for a very long time. It just felt appropriate to release it now because it just says everything about who we are versus who we are up against. The world thinks that the only things that happen in the United States happen on the coast, the flyover states.
It's
that we live
kind
in.
of like I've lived in LA and I grew up in the East Coast, just outside New York. Both of these biases are real.
Oh, they're
They're
so,
so
They're so
real.
strong. And I know it's like, of course, everyone in Colorado knows that, but I actually didn't. When you're born in the bias and the
Yeah.
bubble, you don't know. And then I came out here and I'm like can I imagine not being as close to this run as I am now? And I really wouldn't know much about
Yeah,
it.
you'd be like, "Who's Jokic?"
Yeah, man. And it's like
Djokovic.
And so look, you're not going to get what you want when you go to ESPN in this series.
Never once.
Where you go to they're not going to talk about your Nugs. But at DNVR we have one bias. And it's a no coast bias.
No Coast
baby.
Bias. There.
Here's one more half court heave. One ESPN writer. ESPN writer. I'm looking at you, Zach Lowe. Will pick the Nuggets to win this series.
He's taking the Nuggets?
No,
that's his
just
half court.
predicting
Oh, this is
that
your
one
heave.
will.
My
Did you see
feeling-
Richard Jefferson go for the Nuggets in the most
This is my-
sarcastic way possible?
Yeah.
Like,
My feeling is
he
we're
was
gonna
almost out of the club.
My feeling is that we're going
I
to
can't
get
believe
actually.
we put him in the club.
I might kick him out.
Let's kick him back out of the club.
My feeling is we're going to get a bunch of Nuggets.
I think we're gonna get one.
We're going to get the pendulum
one.
swinging.
Oh,
they were
yeah,
like,
totally.
"Oh, we looked
One
so
person's
stupid
gonna
last
pick the
time," and then they all jump from one side to the other. Like, yeah, screw you guys on the coast. No coast bias, except for the coastal people that are from Denver and live there now, and we're here for you.
Amen.
No
Amen.
coast bias, baby.
Guys, thanks so much. If you don't know, we're going to be back tomorrow with a lounge. We don't know which one.
Western Conference Finals
Western
lounge.
Conference
We're at drunk
Finals,
lounge,
baby.
a drunken
What
lounge.
the heck?
A Friday night lounge is a
Oh,
wild
my-
one.
You
If
never
get
know
a
what's
win-
gonna happen.
If you get a Friday night winners
not
lounge,
driving to work
I'm telling you right now,
tomorrow.
it's going to be
Yeah.
insane.
We're sleeping at the beds we just installed in the bar.
Can't wait for it. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Clippers and Fort.